Hi everyone. So I mentioned that I was going to make a video of the solution to healing from all the trauma. So I was debating on how I wanted to do this, but I think with what I want to share and how I'm going to share it, I can explain it really well in this video and tie in a very important message to it. So I mentioned there's fight in one part. There's fight, there's flight, there's freeze. And then I mentioned in part 2 what getting your feelings hurt really means and how does that cause trauma. Then I mentioned in part 3 about how our nervous system responds to stress and threats, and I mentioned how the car almost hit me in Wyoming. I put my hand up, or if you watch the whole video from beginning to end, I talk about how Rocky got hit in the head with Drago's punch, and Tommy's car speeding off took him back to that PTSD moment. And I talk about my friend who I went to Mission College with, believe it or not, which is where we are now. I'm in Mercado, getting coffee with a friend here in Mercado and right near Mission College. And I talk about my friend's experience, how she never overcame her trauma. So with that being shared, I wanted to just let me come up on here and share a couple things. And it's like, the first thing we're going to go over is self-love, right? So this is if you're verbally or physically abused. You're like, okay, what do I do? I've been physically and verbally abused, because that has an effect on your self-esteem and your self-worth. Get into self-love, skincare, exercise, drinking lots of water, taking care of your physical health, your mental health, positive affirmations in the mirror. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are good enough. Like, it's what I do. And also when you're in a good place, you're able to come face to face with the person who gave you that abuse, and you tell them, look, I want us to talk. I want us to make peace. So that's what worked for me. I shared about my personal experiences in bits and pieces in videos. So that's what worked for me with self-love, tying to physical and verbal abuse. And there's also, other ways, which is like, my friend going through a traumatic childhood with her drug addicted parent, and she sleeps around, gets high. It's like, oh geez, it's like, with what she needs to do is a number of things. The first thing is, if you're like, oh Josh, I experienced trauma with my drug addicted parents, and I experienced trauma of someone hurting, there's violence happening in front of me and it hurts me, go to therapy. The therapist will give you things to work on and how to overcome that trauma and how to break it down into different and see it in different perspectives. There's also the trauma that they'll probably recommend, or you recommend from watching this video, which is choking water. Is that there's a therapist that allow you to go back in time and relive those moments where you see the trauma happening in front of you and you froze and you wanted to go and scream or fight back, but you couldn't. So that therapist will take you back in time and allow you to express those emotions that were trapped. You scream, you cry, it all comes out. So going to a therapist and telling them about your problems, they'll give you ways to cope with it, or they'll also recommend you a therapist that'll allow you to go back in time and experience that, where you cry, you scream, you let out the frozen emotion. Because we talked about fight, flight, and freeze. And then there's another, now the next one is, let's see, because I've had it in my mind, but then it flew out of my head. I think also try journaling, try self-reflection, work on yourself. Because I think, like I said, it's like another example is, I talked about in the video what getting your feelings hurt really means. So it's like my friend who had a drug addicted parent, me raising my voice hurt her feelings, triggered something, she pushed me out the door. She not only should have gone to therapy to really go back in time and relive those moments, to express those emotions that were stuck, frozen, but she should have also gone to therapy where the therapist would also give her perspectives on how to look at the situation. That Joshua is not a threat. Joshua is your friend. You were triggered by your past and you pushed him out the door. And you don't want to acknowledge your past because it's painful. So it's like lifting the bandage off a wound that never got the proper medical care, as I've mentioned in my previous videos. And so about trauma. So man, I'm choking a lot today, but it's like, I just wanted to come on here. And so those are the ways. And so the other thing is, when you're alone by yourself and you do a lot of self-reflection and you decide, I want to go get help, that's when you go to therapy. That's when you do the self-love. You work out, you do things that inspire your self-confidence, because initially all these three things are connected. The self-love, the therapy, the self-reflection allows you to then connect all three of them together, where you reflect on your things. You're like, I want to heal from my trauma. I want to be a better person. See, that's when you start working out. That's when you start doing skincare. That's when you start loving yourself. Positive affirmations. That's when you decide to go to therapy. They help you break down the trauma. It's like being frozen in ice with your trauma. When you're frozen in ice, and the therapy and the help breaks, and the self-love breaks you out of that ice, bang, 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 like a sledgehammer. And then also the therapist will also give you recommendations to go back in time. They'll give you meditation to do. Meditation allows you to be in the eye of the storm, be at peace with what's going on. You're in the middle of all this chaos, but you're at peace with it. So the therapist will recommend meditation. The therapist will recommend journaling. The therapist will recommend their perspective on how to look at the situation from different nuances, which means different ways, and different perspectives that you are not able to see because you're stuck in your trauma. They might also recommend a therapist that will allow them to go back in time with you and to relive that past and to express the emotions that are stuck within. And you can cry, scream, and go back. And then the meditation allows you to be in the middle of all the chaos, but you're at peace with yourself. Also, I do yoga and stretching. I do stretching and yoga for the sake of like my exercise and my tight muscles. But also when I finish doing the yoga and the stretching, I feel more relaxed. I feel better in my legs and my arms, but also I feel more calmer. So if you don't want to do from a breathing meditation or anything that the therapist will give you, try doing stretching and yoga. Pigeon pose is my favorite. Downward facing dog, you get stronger arms. So that's one way. And then also all this, and then I mentioned the third one, self-reflection. If you're like, I don't want to do any form of meditation or self-love, I just want to be by myself, it's through the third one, the being by yourself, the reflection is when you connect all the two and three together. You're like, man, upon reflection, I want to do better. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to heal from my trauma. So when you do all three of them, that's when you get the best version of yourself. That's when everything connects. And that is when you're able to, when you're in a good place with yourself, when you're like, I want to call that person up that gave me the pain and stress. I want to call up this person and make peace with them. I want to bridge the bridge, bring it back together, and I want us to talk and work through this. Then that's even better if you're able to do that. But if you can't, if you're like, oh Josh, that person is gone from my life, they're dead or they're deceased or they don't want to talk to me, all you can do is just pray for them that God heals them and God brings them the right people to help them. Because nobody is because before I go now, guys, like nobody is evil. Nobody is born evil. Nobody is born bad, just like nobody is born good. It's all about our experiences and how we choose to be in this world and how we choose to behave and how we choose to treat others. So I mentioned how this is what I think in terms of like healing from trauma, and I want to just put some other bonus points on there. Is like the first video I did on YouTube is on my other channel. I talk about body meditation with Elliot Hulse, where you basically lie back and you open your mouth and you breathe. Those are deep breathing, bioenergetics. If you look up Elliot Hulse, he talks about that, or that's another form of meditation, body meditation. I open up my thoracic cavity. I just don't open my mouth and breathe, because then it has a change in my voice, and I don't really like that, because it makes my voice deeper, because you're allowing the oxygen into the muscles that don't get the oxygen. But I like my voice, right? I don't want to have a deep voice. So so it's like body meditation is one, bioenergetics, Elliot Hulse, look that up if you're interested in looking into that. But any type of meditation will help, but it's just finding what works for you. I just don't like bioenergetics, but opening up body meditation, bioenergetics, also yoga, stretching, like what I talked about, helps you with your muscles and with your health, but also you feel more calmer and more relaxed. And the meditation the therapist will give you, where you close your eyes and you breathe, or you do the exercise that they give you, whatever meditation they give, whether it's through an app or something else, they'll give it to you. So this is like my full package on how to heal from trauma. Healing from trauma is a journey, guys. It's a journey. You're not going to get it in a week. You're not going to get it in a day. It's all a journey and consistency. And you have to want to get better for yourself and heal for not just yourself, but to be a positive life for others. Because you overcoming your trauma will help and inspire others. And the people that, as someone once told me, as the person who gave me my trauma once told me, as I've mentioned, I think I shared this in my Valuing Diversity class project about my trauma. You can go back on the video. I might do a remake of that video because I could see how I can make it better. But As the person who gave me my trauma once told me, he's a good person. He told me the person that overcomes their struggles in life are the ones that are smiling. They're happy. They make other people feel good. They encourage others. They're smiling. They're close. They're enjoying life. They're determined. They're positive. Those are the people that overcame the struggles in life. The people that didn't overcome the struggles are the ones that are bitter, mean, destructive, rude to other people, not in just overall negative. Those are the people that did not overcome their struggles. So be a victor in your struggles, not a victim. So win over your struggles, guys. It's a choice. Put the work in, show the stamina. And like I said, you know, trust in God, ask God to give you the strength to go through it and become a victory in your struggles, not just for yourself, but to inspire others so you can inspire others to do the same. Have a great day.